Can you guys see me?
Yes.
All right, great. Yeah, I'm trying out this new feature in Zoom wherein I am supposed to be overlaid with the presentation. I'm just not sure if that's how I look right now. I don't think I am, but that's okay. Okay, just we'll give them 2 more minutes and then we'll officially start. Okay,
No problem.
great, great.
It's 8:10. You think we can start?
Yeah, sure.
Can anyone hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can hear you, Antonio. Okay, it's now 15 minutes past the hour of 8 here in Manila. And yeah, so I think we better start. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to each and every one of you. My name is Joey Malyari, and together with me is Sir Antonio and we're members of the IT Project Management Philippines Facebook group. So we are going to be doing a presentation. Primarily, it's going to be me. I'm going to do a presentation on how to become a project management professional, or what is otherwise known as a PMP. Okay. So yeah, but before anything else, I'd just like to inform everybody that we will be recording this session so that we can also share this to others later on if they too are interested in becoming a project management professional. All right. So give me a second here. I'll just be recording this. Okay. So there, can you guys see the screen?
Yep.
All
Yes.
right, great, great. Okay, so what are the things that we will be talking about today? Okay, first, what is a project manager? And then we'll talk about briefly about the concept of the project economy. We'll also talk about the project management professional, or the PMP, the benefits of becoming a PMP, and how to become a PMP, as well as we'll talk briefly about the exam. And later on, after the short session, we'll be opening the floor to anyone who might have questions. Because really, what we'd like to make sure is that people are aware of what this wonderful certification is all about and what the wonderful world of project management really is all about. Okay. But before that, I'd like to introduce myself a little further. My name is Joy Malyari. I am an independent management consultant. Formerly, I was the president of Crossworks Trading Consulting Corporation. I'm currently the chief operating officer of Prayer Real Estate Services. So it's a small real estate firm. I'm also the president of Pictograph Digital. It's a small IT firm that develops software at the same time, does a lot of digital marketing. I'm also currently the program director of the Diploma in Project Management of the De La Salle College of St. Benilde School of Professional and Continuing Education. I'm also a part-time trainer for a Crossworks Training and Consulting, and that's actually why I'm the person right now who will be talking about the PMP certification to you guys. Now, as far as certifications, as far as education is concerned, I have an executive MBA from the Asian Institute of Management. I also have a postgraduate diploma on supply chain and purchasing from the College of St. Benilde. I also have a chemical engineering degree from the Papua Institute of Technology. And finally, as far as certifications, I'm PMP certified, obviously. I'm also PMI Agile Certified Practitioner, PITS2 certified. I'm also a professional Scrum Master, an Agile Project Manager, and also an ISO 21502 Senior Lead Project Manager. Okay, so just to give you an idea on my background. Okay, now let's talk about the project manager. So, what's a project manager? For those who are not familiar with what a project manager is, the project manager is the person assigned by the performing organization to lead the team that is responsible for achieving the project's objectives. So, as a project manager, you are actually required to have three competencies. First is what we call the ways of working. And when we say the ways of working, we're basically talking about the processes needed in managing projects. This is essentially the science of project management. If you've heard of terms like critical path, work breakdown structure, terms like earned value management, these all fall under the concept of the ways of working. Under the ways of working, we also talk about the development approaches such as the traditional or waterfall, what a lot of you are probably familiar with, the traditional approach to project management, as well as things like agile or adaptive methods or hybrid methods. All of these things fall under what we call the ways of working. As a project manager, you have to be aware of these different ways of working or the processes in project management. You also need to have what we call power skills, or what other people would also call people skills, or sometimes leadership skills. So all of these things fall under the general umbrella of power skills. It's being able to influence people and to get them to do the things that you want them to do. That's what power skills is all about. And then we have what we call business acumen. When you say business acumen, this is essentially your ability to tie in your projects to the needs of the organization. Because you don't do projects simply because you want to do a project. You do projects because of a greater purpose. Your organization needs to move forward. Your organization needs to expand. Your organization needs to become more efficient. All of these result into projects. And as a project manager, you need to be able to align your project to the needs of the organization. And you need to have the proper business skills, the business acumen, if you may. And these are the competencies needed by a project manager. So as you can see, being a project manager really has a lot of impact to one's organization. Don't think of yourself when you say that you're a project manager, you're just the guy leading the team that's doing all the work. It goes beyond that. You know, when you say you're a project manager, really what you're trying to say is that you are a change maker in your organization. You are somebody who actually does something that actually creates a result in your organization's goals, in achieving your organization's goals. And that's why a project manager is very important. Actually, I'd just like to show you guys a short video on what is known as the project economy. This is a term that was coined by PMI, but really gives you an idea on the impact of project managers and project management as a whole globally. All right, so let's all watch this video. Tell me if you can't hear the sound, okay?
As we adapt to new ways of working and prepare for future disruption, organisations will see a growing need for skilled project managers. The PMI 2022 Jobs Report showcases emerging sectors and trending industries where project leaders can find opportunities to drive growth and innovation in every region of the globe. Countries in the Asia-Pacific region expect their economies to grow in 2022. Meanwhile, talent is in high demand in many countries and industries. While China's economy has experienced a slight slowdown, a number of factors should contribute to increased project activity, including consumer spending increases and China's energy transition plan. Supply chain disruption and rising energy prices, along with rapid digitalization, are driving an increased demand for project professionals in Europe, especially in IT. The current conflict in the region will have long-term humanitarian and economic consequences that will require response. There has been a spike in demand throughout Latin America for project managers, particularly in the technology and manufacturing sectors. rebounding oil pricing, government investment in high-profile mega-projects, and international events like Expo 2020 Dubai and the 2022 FIFA World Cup promise to reinvigorate the region's economy and need for project managers. The Great Resignation and supply chain problems have put job seekers in high demand in the US and Canada as companies look toward automation and digitization to protect against future disruption. Despite the pandemic, the global demand for products manufactured in South Asia has continued to increase over the past 2 years. As a result, companies are willing to invest more in project managers with strong innovation and leadership skills. Nearly a third of global aid, roughly $32 billion, is spent in Africa, and that's fueling new development jobs across the region, up to 45% of which will need project talent. The demand for project talent is high around the world. Are you ready to take your career to the next level?
Okay, so I do hope that kind of gave you an idea on how important being a project manager is and its impact on the globe, really. Okay, so as you can see, depending on where you are, of there's a lot of need for project managers, and that's why being a professional project manager is really a very good step in your career if you are a project manager at this point in time. So what is the project management professional? Okay. So just like to go over to that slide. Okay. So the project management professional is essentially the gold standard for project managers worldwide. Okay. So it's also known as the PMP. The PMP, the project management professional, the PMP. This certification was developed by the Project Management Institute. The Project Management Institute is an organization. They're based out of Pennsylvania in the US, and they are the ones who actually develop what we call the standards or the guide to project management. So it started back in the 60s, and it grew as an organization, and they were the ones who actually, in a way, created the science of project management. Okay. Now there are groups, there are organizations out there that are so-called project management organizations. Okay. But as a whole, no organization in comes close to the Project Management Institute when it comes to project management. Okay, so no organization comes close. But really, while there are other groups out there, everybody looks into the PMI for guidance as to what the standard of project management really is all about. And one way to actually state that you know these standards is by becoming a project management professional or a PMP. There are a lot of certifications out there being issued by PMI. Just like, for example, as I mentioned a while ago, I'm not only am I PMP certified, I'm also PMI ACP Agile Certified Practitioner. So that's another certification by PMI. Okay, so this pretty much gives you an idea that if you are PMP certified, you actually have all the. It basically talks about having all the skills that are needed to become a professional project manager. So I'd like to emphasize on the term professional. Because when we say professional, that means that's how you earn a living. You are the person that is really good in that skill. You are not an amateur. You're actually being paid, good money to deliver on these projects. Okay. So that's the PMP. That's the gold standard of project management. So if you are PMP certified, that pretty much tells people that you're there. You're at that level. You are a world-class project manager. At Crossworks, you always say that you are world-class if you have attained your PMP certification. Okay. Now I'd like to give you guys an idea, more ideas on what are some of the benefits of becoming a PMP or becoming PMP certified. Okay, so I'd like to show you guys this short video. was very short. Okay. So what are the benefits of becoming PMP certified? Okay. I guess one of the things that we all want to hear is the first one on the top of this bullet list. Okay. Higher earnings. Okay. Higher earnings. Really becoming PMP certified will, more often than not give you higher earnings. Actually, based on a study, okay, median salary for PMP holders globally is around 16% higher than non PMP holders. Okay? It's 16% higher. Actually, if you're in the US, just like Ace is, she's in the US, it's actually 32% higher, okay, than those without certification. So that's something that's a big thing. Okay? That's a big thing. Actually, I'd like to share with you a story, guys. And this is a personal thing. It says here, this is the last survey. It says it's 16% higher. Previously, it was around 18% higher. During my time, I didn't get 16%, nor did I get 18% increase in my salary when I became PMP certified. It was actually 40%. That was the increase in my salary from the time that I was a project manager. This was back in, I'm showing my age here. This was back in 2005. I got my PMP certification back in 2005. And after that, when I moved to a different organization, they gave me a raise of around 40%. So, and that was because I'm PMP certified. That was something that really helped me a lot. Okay, so that's one thing. Okay, if you actually look at the chart here, okay, your median salary actually grows further the longer that you are PMP certified. So if you've been working for like 1 to 5 years, here's the average around 100 grand in the US. 5 to 10 years, 125. 10 to 20 years is around 140. Okay, so that's just to give you an idea on how much you can potentially earn as a project manager. Okay, that's just the median. So you can go higher or lower. All right. So there. The next benefit is that it gives you more career opportunities. So it's easier for you if you, for example, would like to look for a new job. If you're out there, hunting for a new to join a new organization, being PMP certified makes it, a little easier because you already have that credential with you. People can trust your certification as a way of validating your capability as a project manager. I've actually worked for organizations in the past wherein they actually won't get you an interview unless you have these certifications. So you won't even get, your foot in the door without telling them that you are PMP certified. And especially nowadays, given the the increase in demand for project managers, you want to be there. You want to be the person that stands out. And so if you want to be the person that stands out, having that certification actually helps. In fact, just to give you an idea, especially for those guys that are based here in the Philippines, there is a huge advantage to becoming PMP certified if you plan on working overseas. Why? You know, Let me give you this as an example. Oftentimes, like for example, if you're here in the Philippines, you're an accountant, you're an engineer, you need to get your professional license. Okay, or what people would know as the PRC license. So you take up your board exam. Once you pass, you get a license, and that entitles you to actually practice your profession here in the Philippines. But if you go abroad, that doesn't mean anything, right? That doesn't mean anything. If you are an engineer and you would like to work in the US as an engineer, you still have to take the board exam of that specific state that you're living in. So you have to do things all over again. You have to prove yourself all over again. But if you're PMP certified here in the Philippines and you want to, for example, work, overseas, you want to work in the US, you want to work in Canada, you want to work in Australia, and wherever. You know, your PMP certification here in the Philippines is exactly the same as the PMP certification anywhere else in the world. So you are just as good as anyone else that has the same credential as you. And that makes, and that levels the playing field. That makes it easier for you to compete with other people, other job seekers outside uh, the Philippines. Okay, so I know a lot of Filipinos want to work abroad, want to work outside the Philippines. It's obviously more lucrative, and this gives you, that extra boost in your credentials. Another nice thing about being a PMP is that you become a part of a growing community. There are a lot of communities of project managers. We have local chapters. There's a local chapter here in the Philippines. Or if you're anywhere else in the world, there's definitely a local chapter somewhere that you might be able to join so that you can network with other project managers, with other like-minded professionals. And that helps you grow and get acquainted with other people. So that's one very good advantage. I've met a lot of very interesting people, a lot of intelligent people, a lot of people that was able to help me in my career as well, because I was also a part of a community of project managers. Another advantage is that you gain additional knowledge and skills by becoming a PMP. If you're PMP certified, not only do you show that you are capable of um you're capable of all the skills that was stated in the project management body of knowledge, but also if there are new technologies, new updates, new ways of working, you get first dibs on all of these things. You get first crack off on what's new, what's out there, where is project management going, and all these new things. So that gets you ahead in terms of the knowledge. That's something that's very important because if you are the type of person that has all these knowledge and you're able to share this in your organization, that makes you more uh indispensable in your organization. So that's another benefit. Okay. And lastly, organizational benefits. Let's not forget the organization that we work for. Okay. There's also a study that says that if one third of the project managers in the organization are actually PMP certified, that helps the team significantly become more high performing. There's this term known as high performing organizations, and that is a type of organization that does very well, has projects that are on time, on budget, projects that meet the organization's goals. So that's an example of a high performing organization. And if only, according to the study, if only one third of the project managers are PMP certified, that already significantly helps. Why? Because you as a project manager, as a professional project manager, your knowledge, your skills, your capabilities get shared across the organization. How you do things, people will follow you. People will actually tend to listen to what you're saying because you're certified. You know what you're doing. And you can share that information. And that sharing actually helps the organization grow, and become better. Okay. So these are some of the benefits of becoming PMP certified. Okay. So do you know that there are around 25 new project management employees needed to meet the global talent demands by 2030? Okay. With around 2.3 million annual job openings worldwide. And that's a big number. Okay. That's a big number. That's something that I do hope should entice you to become a professional project manager. Okay. So speaking of additional benefits, I'd just like to share with you a short video as well. I hope you guys can see it. Okay.
There's been a lot of benefits that the PMP certification has brought to me personally. The first is it's increased my earning ability.
When I took my position at Comcast, it was a $40,000 pay increase because I was the only applicant with a PMP.
I've been offered opportunities I would never have otherwise if I did not have the PMP.
I was able to earn more because my clients had more confidence in me to take on bigger and better projects.
And my advice to those who are considering PMP is get it. It is worth it. You're going to have a great return on your investment.
There's been a lot of benefits that the
Okay, so there you go. So as you can see, these are some of the testimonies of project managers who have taken the PMP and how it has impacted them. Okay, I'm one of them, so I'm a testament to the impact of becoming PMP, a project management professional. Okay, so I guess at this point I have been able to whet your appetite in how how important or what are the benefits or how beneficial becoming a PMP certified professional is. Okay, and so what are the requirements? Okay, so what are the requirements for taking the PMP exam? You don't just remember, you don't just pay an amount and then boom, you're automatically PMP certified. Okay, not really. So there are some requirements. Now it really depends on whether you have a college diploma or a high school diploma. If you have a college degree or a high school diploma, okay. So as it says here, earning your PMP certification is a commitment, emphasis on commitment. That's part of what makes it valuable. If it were something that you just had to pay an annual subscription, then chances are it will not have the value that it has at this point, that it has built. Unlike other certifications where you can just pay a subscription, you just attend the training, and then automatically you have the quote unquote certification. The PMP ain't like that. Okay. If you have real world project management experience, you finish the hardest part. And that's basically it. That's the whole point here. You need to have that experience. Okay. So before you apply, you need to make sure that you have met the following certification requirements. First is a degree or a high school diploma. So I'm assuming that a lot of you guys have a degree here. So what are the requirements? First is around 36 months of experience leading projects within the past 8 years. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions about this 36 months of experience. And this is something that I'd like to emphasize to everybody. It does not mean that you should have the title project manager. Okay? You don't need to have the title project manager, project director, or project coordinator, or whatnot. It's not important. Okay? So this might come as a surprise to a lot of you, but it's not required. If you want to apply to take the exam, what you need to have is experience. It's not the title. And so during the application process, you are required to write down your experience on projects. What were you doing? You might not be the project manager, but you're the guy handling all the risks. Okay, you are leading the risk management function. You might not be the project manager, but you're managing the schedules, the scope of the project. These are parts of project management. As long as you're doing project management related activities, that counts. Okay? And that's what you need to describe in your application process. You just have to describe that, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I've done for the past, for a total of 3 years in the last 8 months. You just have to put that down. You have to write that down. Okay? That's the first requirement. And then the other requirement is 35 hours of project management education or training, or if you have what we call a CAPM or a Certified Associate in Project Management certification. Okay? Emphasize on this training. So you need to have training. Because otherwise, how can you say that you know the standards of project management if you have not attended the appropriate training? Okay? So if you have a high school diploma, then it's pretty much the same, except for the fact that the experience hours is a lot longer. It has to be around 60 months or roughly 5 years within the past 8 years. Okay. So those are the requirements. Those are the only two requirements. Well, three, counting, where you graduated. If you have a high school diploma or if you have a college degree. Then the next step is experience, and then third is education. Okay. So those are the only requirements. So how's the exam like? Exam is around 180 questions. Okay. It's 230 minutes to complete. Actually, before I continue talking about this thing, I'd just like to tell you guys, this is the PMP exam, and probably Antonio can share his experience as well later on in taking the exam. This has got to be the most notorious exam that I have taken in my career. Okay. So as you notice, I have a lot of certifications, and this one, the PMP certification, has got to be one of the most difficult. Okay. It's a situation wherein during my time it was all multiple choice. It seemed like every single question, every single option was the correct option. That was how notorious the questions were. Okay. So yeah, so just want to share. It's quite difficult. Okay. And that's where the value comes in. Not everybody can get a PMP certificate. You actually have to work for it. That's why it was stated a while ago in the previous slide that it is a commitment. Okay. So there. So again, it's 180 questions. It's around 230 minutes. Why 230? It's actually 240 minutes all in all. So it's 4 hours. But the first 10 minutes, that's the introduction. That's wherein they uh give you instructions on how to use the system. You just have to learn how to navigate, etc., etc. And then after the 10 minutes, then that's the time that you start taking the exam. Now, the exam is often computer based. Okay. There are paper-based exams, but that is very rare, and that is often under the supervision of the testing center. Okay. You can only take paper-based exam if there is no testing center that is near you for a certain number of miles, for the next 100 miles or so. I just can't recall specifically. Okay. And you can't get to the testing center. But oftentimes, they uh they ask you to go into a testing center to take the exam, and it's computer based. It's actually web based, so there's instructions there and all that. Okay. So there are 2 10-minute breaks if you're taking it via computer. Okay. Online proctored. If you're doing it in paper based, there's no 10-minute breaks. Okay. There's also an option to take the exam at home. Okay. There's an option to take the exam at home. So if you really can't go to the testing center, you can actually take the exam at home. But if you do that, they will require you to be in a secluded place wherein there are no distractions. Uh, they'll ask you to clean your desk. They'll be installing some software in your laptop. You need to have a webcam because it is proctored as well. So there's somebody on the other side of the webcam who will actually be watching you. And that person will be, sending out notes every now and then. If he or she notices that you're flipping through certain pages or you're Googling something. So yeah, so it's pretty much similar to being in a testing center. So I actually would suggest, if you are going to ask me, I would suggest that you go to a testing center so that it's more conducive. The last thing that you'd like to happen is that the lights go out, or your internet breaks down during the time that you're taking your exam, because that's going to be very, very difficult for you if it does happen. Okay. So better that you take it in a testing center. There are a couple of testing centers here in Manila. Okay. If you guys are familiar with Pearson View, so Pearson View is the accredited testing center for the PMP exam. Okay, so there's one in Makati, one in Quezon City. I would recommend the one in Quezon City because simply because they're friends of ours. There's also one in Cebu. Okay, so there are a lot of testing centers that are available here in Manila. For those that are in other countries, you can always get into Pearson View, so you can go to their website and look for the testing centers that are near your location. Okay. So what are the question types? The question types are multiple choice, multiple response, meaning select two, select three, okay? Matching, and sometimes hotspots and fill in the blanks. So this is one of the major changes from the old version of the PMP exam. The old version was all multiple choice, four options, okay? But now they have added to they've actually changed the how the questions are made. So there. Okay, so just wanted to share with you. So this started in 2021. So the 2021 version now has the new format, and this is the new format. Now, as far as the content, okay, the content of the exam, I would strongly suggest that if you'd like to know what will be in the exam, you might want to download the PMP exam content outline. So it's readily available in the PMP website. Oh, sorry, the PMI website. So it's downloadable there. So you will see what are the areas that the exam covers. Okay. But in general, it is broken down into three groups, which is pretty much, if you notice, something that is very similar to what the project manager's competencies are. First is the people or the power skills, which is around 42% of the question. So questions about leadership, questions about how you will deal with people, questions about how you will deal with stakeholders and all of that. Next is the ways of working or the processes, which account to about half of all the questions. So half of the questions are more on the science of project management, questions on the work breakdown structure, questions on critical path, earned value management, questions on agile practices, adaptive practices, and so on and so forth. And then 8% is all about the business acumen and your ability to relate your projects to the strategy. Okay. So that's how the questions are mostly divided. This is what we call the PMI talent triangle. Because if you're a project manager, you have to have talents on these three areas. Okay. So there. So that's the format of the exam. Okay. So what else? As I mentioned a while ago, you need to be able to uh, have the education hours. Okay. And one thing that I would like to point out is how to earn those 35 hours. You can actually, and one the ones that I would obviously, for very, very obvious reasons, recommend is that you take training with Crossworks. Okay. Crossworks is an authorized training partner of the Project Management Institute. We're one of the few authorized training partners in Southeast Asia, and we're one of a handful, a very, very small hand at that, here in the Philippines. Okay. So what's the advantage? Okay. So I'll be very open and transparent to everybody. You can actually take your training in an organization that is not authorized. But of course, caveat emptor, so it's up to you if you'd like to risk that. The advantage of taking it with us is that number one, the materials that we are using is actually official materials that come from PMI themselves. Okay. Um so we don't create our own materials for the PMP review, but rather these actually come from PMI itself. Okay. Secondly, in terms of the trainers, so we have the most experienced trainers available. I've been teaching the PMP since the third edition. It's now the seventh edition of the PMBOK. And that means since 2007, I've been teaching the PMP exam since 2007. So it's been a while. Okay. And there are only 4 authorized training partner instructors here in the Philippines. And 2 of them are actually uh, actually are being represented by Crossworks. So 50% of all the authorized trainers are here in Crossworks. So 2 of the 4. Okay. So there. So yeah, just wanted to do a little plug. We will be having our PMP review class on April 20 to May 18. These are all Saturday classes. These are face-to-face classes. So for those of you who cannot leave the your organization on a weekday, we do have weekend classes. So we rarely run this, but yeah, so our next class is a all Saturday class, right? So the location is at Joy Nostalgia Hotel in Ortigas, Pasig. Okay. So the food there's great. So just wanted to share that. And if you are a member, and this is the last thing that I'd like to point out, if you are a member of the IT project managers group, Facebook group, you can automatically qualify for the early bird rate. Okay. So that's a huge discount that you guys can get. Okay. So there. So that's it. Okay. So I do hope I was able to give you guys an idea on the PMP certification and the advantages of becoming a PMP, the benefits of becoming PMP. So I'm now, opening the floor to questions from anyone in the group. Or sharing, if you'd like to share. Antonio, you might want to share your journey as PMP. Antonio, by the way, is also PMP certified like me.
Yeah, it's a big boost. So when I moved here from, I've been a project manager in the Philippines for a while. Moved to Canada, and then they have questions because they don't know a lot of the companies in the Philippines, right? Even though it was a big company then here in there locally, but when it comes to Canada, it's not as well known. So they had questions about my PM experience. So only when I took my PMP, that's when they recognized that, okay, so you know how to do your project management and you know the fundamentals. So it was a big boost. The salary boost was true. There was a big jump from what I was getting to what I have now, what I had then. So yeah, go get it.
All right, great. Thanks, Antonio. So yeah, so thank you for sharing. At least it's not just me talking about it. It's somebody else that talks about the advantage of really becoming PMP certified. So I do hope that you guys grab the opportunity of becoming PMP certified, especially the fact that uh it's a growing discipline. It's not a skill that will be gone anytime soon. With the things that are happening globally, if you notice, you probably heard about things like the gig economy and all that. It's because the way that we do work is changing. And if you look at the way that we do work, all of this impacts. If you're a project manager, all the more your management skills become more crucial given the changes that are happening around us. Okay. Other questions, guys? None. Okay. So yeah. So thank you very much. I'd like to turn you over now to Ace.
Yeah, so I'd like to also share something about being a PMP. I am not a PMP, but I used to take the global project management certification in Oracle. I passed that. We had um panel interview too. So it is recognized by PMI. So it's really difficult. But then from the Philippines, I moved to California. And when I got here, I had a hard time doing my applications because most of the companies here are looking for PMP, especially when you're looking for a job that has, higher pay. So it was kind of difficult for me, even though I was PMP certified by Oracle. Um, but then it's always been my one of my dreams to still get the PMP certification. But I always tell Sir Joey that I don't have time. I'm always busy. And right now, I still can't do it because I have two kids, and it's really hard to when you have two kids here, or kids like more than a kid, or just even one kid. It's still hard to work plus take care of them. So right now, I'm missing a lot of opportunities because I'm seeing a lot of job openings that are, requiring PNP certification. So my advice is that if you are, even if you are in the Philippines, or if you want to move here or to any country, it's really good. You will have the edge, if you take that certification. So, start talking to Sir Joey. And if you have questions, just, let us know. You can uh, put your questions in the group, or probably Sir Joey can leave your, can give your his email to you, and yeah, start taking it, start reviewing as early as you can.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ace. Thank you for sharing. And yes, you are very much delayed in getting your certification.
I
There's
don't
never a
I
good
might have
time.
no plans anymore. I want to
There's
I want to
there's
retire now, actually.
yeah, you make time. So you're long
Yeah.
overdue for that. So yeah, that's good. That's good. Anyone else? So
Hmm,
Sheila
hmm.
has a question on the cost.
Yeah.
Okay. So the cost is for the review course. Erica is one of our account managers, so you can just share with her your email address, and she'll get back to you. For the cost of the training itself, we're actually one of the cheapest that are licensed. But at the same time, the exam itself, if I'm not mistaken, and then I'm just recalling from memory, okay? It's 550 US dollars if you are a non-member, and it's around $415 if you are a PMI member, okay? So yeah, so that's the cost of the exam alone, okay? It's not the cost of the training, because the exam is with PMI. You take the exam there, but the training can be done with training organizations such as Crossworks. So there, okay. And just to share with you, because a lot of people have been asking me what's my hit rate, okay, as far as those who I've taught in the PMP exam course. I've been teaching, as I mentioned, I've been teaching this since 2007, and within Crossworks, which I was a part of in 2017. So far, we don't actually track the number of people who take our training and then take the exam, because sometimes they just opt not to. Okay. But for all of those who have taken the exam and informed us that they took the exam, so far it's 100% passing. Okay. So yeah. So I hope that that entices people to consider Crossworks as a potential training provider for you guys. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Some questions on the PMP certification. What is the exam like? Okay, so if somebody wanted to know about the exam is pretty much situational because what it does is it tests your ability as a project manager. So it's not the type of exam that asks you, or what are the five or what are the 10 knowledge areas in project management? What does stakeholder management mean? Or what? No, it's nope, not it's not like that. These are all situational questions. Because what it does is it tests if you are an experienced project manager, meaning you've gone through that experience. It tests if you actually know what you should be doing as a project manager given that type of situation. So that's why it's quite difficult. Because oftentimes what happens is our experience, our knowledge gets entangled with what the standard is saying. And that's why we get it wrong. And that's why oftentimes we feel that every single answer is the right answer. But there is only one prescribed answer, and that is the right answer. So that's why it's kind of difficult because it's all situational. Okay. So even questions that require you to do calculations and whatnot, they all lead towards answering a situational question there. Okay. So that's the type of exam. But don't worry, uh, we teach you guys how to what are the tips and tricks in understanding the questions, what are certain giveaways in terms of okay, this question is leading towards this question is all about that, and so on and so forth. Okay, so there. Okay, what else? About becoming PMP, what other benefits? Yeah, I pretty much gave you guys a lot of the main benefits of becoming PMP. You add three more letters after your name if you'd like that. Okay. If your name is a bit short, you'd like to add a couple more letters, then go for it. Okay. So there.
So, Sir Joey, I have a question. You mentioned
Sure.
about the early bird rate.
Yep.
So is that
Yes.
for what members? The PMI members or
Okay. So
the our
yeah,
group?
our group, our group. So the if you
Oh, okay,
are
great.
a member of the IT Project Managers Philippines FB group, then you can automatically avail of the early bird rate at Crossworks. Okay, so
Wow,
that's
wow.
something that we'll be giving you guys. So I think that's 5,000 pesos off, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not the guy who does the pricing, so don't ask me about the price. I just teach. Okay, so Erica probably has more knowledge about
Uh,
that. But yeah, so we can give you so because normally you can take the early, you will get an early bird rate if you register early. But since you are a member, you can register late, and yet we will give you the early bird rate. So that's one thing that we can give the members of the IT Project Manager Fitness Group. So if you're not yet a member, become a member. Okay, so because before we give you that discount, we have to check your name in the group. Okay, so there. Okay.
yeah, thank you so much for that. Maybe we can also post that in the event page, right? Or
Yeah,
in
yeah.
your one of your posts for the training,
No
for your
worries. Oh,
training.
definitely. We can do that. We can definitely do that.
Okay.
So there. Any other questions, guys? Questions, comments, feedback, whatnot? All right. I guess we have no more questions. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending and spending, an hour and yeah, on us today. Okay, so I do hope that I was able to answer your questions or give you guys some insights on taking the PMP exam. And if you're, in the fence as to whether or not you'd like to take your PMP, I hope I was able to convince you to actually take your PMP certification. Okay, so there. Ace, anything else that you'd like
Yeah,
to?
just a picture before we go.
Oh
Group
yeah, yeah,
picture.
sure. Okay, who's gonna take the picture? Can you do that, Ace? Or
Yeah, just do it. I'm just using
Oh,
my phone.
okay, sure, sure, sure. All right, let's take a picture. Okay, everybody smile. One, two, three.
Cheers.
All right. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. So yeah, so see you guys soon. And stay safe, everybody. Have a good evening. Have a good rest of the day wherever you guys are. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thanks.
Have a
Bye.
great
See you in
weekend,
our
everyone.
next webinar.